Welcome back to Paranormal Perspective. I'm John Lordan, and joining me as always,
Christy Arnhart.
this is the show where we look into a paranormal or paranormal adjacent topic. Christy does the research. I have no insight into what we're looking into, but she tries to pull me back from the brink of skepticism time and time again. Sometimes she does pretty well. Other times I win. One of us has to watch a semi-embarrassing video. but and the live audience helps us determine who that winner is. Christy, what's the topic for today?
Well, today we will be taking a look at the Vancouver lights in 1974 and the woman who was the first person to call them in, Dorothy Izatt.
Ooh, okay. I don't think I'm familiar with the Vancouver lights. I know about the Phoenix lights. I know there's been a couple times in history, like big notable occurrences like that, and they typically get a lot of attention because there's so many people that witness them. So I assume that we have kind of a similar situation here, right?
Yeah, it is.
Okay. All right.
It is.
All right. Do we want to start with the video segment or?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, let's get right into it.
This is, well, hold on.
Sure.
Can we go back?
Yeah.
So let me give you just a little bit of background here. Okay. It was an evening in 1974, and Canadian housewife Dorothy Izatt was seeing bright objects in the sky, some of which were hovering over her house. So she went out with a flashlight and started flashing it and moving it around, and the UFOs responded. The lights, I guess I should call them. They're not proven to be UFOs, but they respond to her. So yeah, go ahead and roll that clip.
Okay. Yeah, I'm curious what kind of response. Like, they like, stop flashing that in my face. I'm trying to drive here. Let's see.
Just as remarkable as the pictures themselves, the woman who took them.
Professors, doctors, lawyers, anything you can think of. They were coming to do different tests on me.
Her name is Dorothy Izatt, the world's most unlikely UFO contactee. A 75-year-old great-grandmother who says she's been communicating with visitors from other worlds for 25 years.
I've asked them to come closer, and they'll move closer. And I'll ask them if I can film them, if they give me permission to film them.
These pictures are the result, showing everything from alien beings to spaceships to masses of glowing orbs in the sky and inexplicable flashes of light. All contained on more than 350 reels of film this spry granny shot with her little Super 8 camera from the balcony of her Vancouver apartment. She remembers when it first happened, on an otherwise ordinary afternoon back in 1974.
I looked up in the sky.
Why are you already
this
smiling?
Enormous craft that looks like a huge...
Just the piece of information that she's basically been a believer for decades at this point. You know, it just, you know, it changes things a little bit. Like when I heard about the Phoenix lights, like you had a bunch of people that are like, I don't believe in UFOs, and here I got footage of this thing. So this is a little different, and I always wonder in situations like this about the charge that people get if they have a belief for that long, and then all of a sudden they have other people that are confirming that belief or subscribing to it in some way. And you know, it's just interesting to me that pretty close to the top of the newscast, she's talking about all these people that are now interested in her and testing her and all this kind of stuff. I think psychologically, that's part of why people want to be the person that makes a special discovery like this, you know, is that level of attention. And here she is on hard copy. But I don't know. That's just kind of where I'm at about it. In terms of the information, I know we have still shots we can look at, so I don't want to jump ahead in terms of trying to analyze any of those. But it is also kind of strange to me, just like, hey, I'm a UFO searcher, and you know, I'm doing it from the balcony of my apartment.
They're attracted to her.
Yeah. Well, and see, but that's part of the story. You have to have that component because we do have legitimate planetariums, you know, like science centers, telescopes of immense power. Like we've got legit things that are looking for space on the planet. So it wouldn't be enough for her to say, like, I've got my Super 8 camera and I go out on the balcony every night. Like, there has to be some special reason why SETI isn't getting these images. NASA isn't, having these spaceships show up and respond to their requests. So yeah, I get.
That's if they come through space.
Oh, that's true. That's true. It could be some type of multi-dimensional wormhole
Could
situation.
be coming from the ocean. And well, yeah, I mean, there have been so many sightings that have been documented by different people. And as far as we know, the government, NASA, none of them said anything. But yeah, you would think if the mothership was coming from space and crossing in to our atmosphere to visit her, that would definitely get noticed.
Yeah, and
definitely.
Also keep in mind, multiple countries in the world have space programs, have tools for analyzing space. So I'm pretty sure there would be some immediate confirmation that happened across a few different countries where they're like, are you guys seeing that too? We're seeing that. There's definitely something that's rolling in. It's interesting to me to think that, well, for this time period, it's different though. When is this news segment from? This looks like it's 90s.
It didn't have a date on it, but it being hard copy and looking like it did, it had to be the 90s because I believe she passed away in 2021.
Oh, okay.
So she lived to a good age.
Yeah.
Maybe even early 2000s.
Yeah. I just belief structures were so different pre-internet. They were just so different. And she's of a different generation as well. She's the the Hill story. I'm sure the Betty and Barney Hill story. I'm sure she's very aware of that. And those stories would just resonate through these types of communities and be the big signposts that everyone would point back to and say, well, we do know that, ships were here because Betty and Barney Hill, they were driving down the road and then all of a sudden they lost 3 hours or, so yeah, I get it.
Okay.
I just mean all I've analyzed so far is her personality, and I think she could be extremely biased. That's where I've landed so far. That's where I'm bringing my spaceship down.
Okay. The soapbox spaceship.
I did say spaceship.
Well, to be fair, her family thought she was crazy. And she ended up seeing a psychiatrist, and he was like, no, she believes she's telling the truth. He said, I don't know what it is that she's saying, but I do believe that she believes she's telling the truth. Now, soon after all of this, she started to realize that the objects were trying to communicate with her, and she decided to start getting it on film. So, she gets her Keystone XL 200 Super 8 movie camera.
Well, that's a pretty impressive. That's an impressive camera. It's probably got an awesome lens on it.
Oh my gosh, it's one-handed. It's like it is. Well, and not only did she start to capture, balls of light and things of that nature, she got the flashing lights that were in there. She never could figure out what it was, but when she would get home and she would slow the video down and look at it, she started to become convinced that they were trying to communicate with her in those instances, and she just has no idea how to read what it is they're trying to tell her.
Okay. Can we look at some of that? We have pictures of that communication.
Yeah, I don't remember. Okay, there's a good one right there in the middle. You've got your ball of light at the top. You've got the flash of light. You see balls of light in the middle, but then you've got these flashes of light.
I see.
That's why she was thinking. And see the one in the bottom right-hand corner, I know pareidolia starts to kick in, but it looks like two grays standing there. And there are lots of pictures that she took that have clearly defined shapes. One of them, to me, even looked like an astronaut, with the pack on, like when they're out in space puttering around with their pack. It even looked like that to me.
Okay.
All of this sounded a lot like Stella Lansing and the pictures that she was able to take with her Super 8 camera. I love Stella Lansing, and I believe everything she put out there. I just love it. But I mean, you got the same kind of circumstances. They both claimed they were being communicated with. They claimed, they shared these pictures with all of these anomalies. I don't remember if Stella said she was an abductee or not, but I do think Stella is. I do think that she is.
Yeah, I don't remember if Lansing, I think, wasn't hers more super or like spiritual?
See, I felt like hers were more paranormal than
Yeah,
what Dorothy's are.
right. Right. Yeah, Dorothy
I
is,
don't know why,
yeah. Oh man, this
but I
was a
did.
painting. This was a painting that was in every office building in the 1990s. If you've ever this was an art style for a while.
It's that spray string stuff. Someone's just standing there spraying it at the camera.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it just like Stella Lansing, they went in, they looked at her equipment. She had 3 different pieces of equipment that she used, but the 8mm was the one she used the most. They looked at all of them. They couldn't see that anything had been tampered with, and they couldn't figure out how she was making the images.
Yeah, I mean, this is a bizarre image. Like the first ones kind of looked like this type of movement, especially with a very strong, harsh light source. If you were able
Mm-hmm.
to slow the film exposure, your movement would make these trails happen. That would just be a result, especially if you're zoomed in. So if she's got a
Mm-hmm.
camera where there's any type of zoom on it and she sees a ball of light out there and she's trying to zoom in on it, um,
Mm-hmm.
that her movement alone is going to make some of this kind of wacky stuff happen. But this other one, this is something completely different. I don't know what this is. This, like I said, this looks like a close-up of a piece of artwork. Like this isn't the same. This first one, this could be not camera malfunction, but this could happen within a camera. Like I've seen stuff like
Mm-hmm.
this. Not like this.
It's
This is
somebody's
weird.
screensaver from Windows 94.
Something like that. I mean, it does kind of,
It does look unusual.
yeah.
I don't have an explanation for it either, and nobody else does either. Her family, all this time, she ended up with 600 reels of film over 30 years, and her family was still like, we think mom's a little eccentric, you know?
Yeah, I'd say so. Well, this one's interesting.
See, that is so weird looking to me.
Yeah,
What
these,
is that weird line on the outside edge with the dots?
I don't know. I don't know. That is a weird one. I mean, the dots, if we're talking about a Super 8 camera, the first thing I'm thinking of is about the edge of the roll, like where
That's what I would think too, but it doesn't look distorted like it got pulled over.
yeah, well, also, how is this being captured? So, like, if you're taking that film on the camera, you have to watch it back on something else. So, if they're watching it back on a projector, is this like the film sliding off of the projector and when they're snapping this photo? There's just the dots, especially with the line at the edge like that, it really is making me think film, like the edge of the film.
I had that thought too, but I'm still leaning towards something paranormal, only because nobody's found any way to prove that this stuff is fake. Now, having 2 similar stories, both using the same types of camera, makes you pause. It just makes you think, well, these ladies figured out something that nobody else did. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't
I mean,
know.
the thing that's hard about it is like I wouldn't even really be drawn to like I need to inspect her camera. Like I'm not seeing imagery here that I feel like is some type of harsh manipulation, or that she would have had to have someone build something into her camera to be able to do this kind of stuff. This is, I mean, especially this, like this is a pretty standardish looking, like a lens flare almost, where a source of light will hit the side of a lens because the lens is shaped round. It kind of repeats a few times as it passes through. This looks like a lens flare. This, I don't know what this one is. That one's bizarre. Like that almost looks like a photograph of a microscope slide or something.
Looks like a guild highlighter to me.
Yeah, but honestly, that's what I mean. Like the point of, I need to check out your camera and we're going to confirm that nothing's weird with your camera. All this stuff that's happening here, I don't think would have been happening in the camera. It would be how she's using the camera, or things that are happening within the camera and how she's interpreting them. That's really, like there is no photograph that I'm seeing here of a gray. There is no photograph that I can even really point to here and say, oh, this is definitely a ship of some kind, or some kind of, like, I can't even say that this is flying. Like I know it looks It's got the appearance because of the way that the light is kind of cascading down. Honestly, this almost looks like the shot of E.T.'s ship coming to get him at the end of the movie. And this is probably the best example, I would say, of the ones that we're looking at
Well,
here.
see, that's where we run into trouble. Her family has copyrighted all of her pictures and whatnot. You can get very few examples of them online. They thought with copywriting that it would last longer in, public records and whatnot. So we have very few examples to look at.
Well, that's a double-edged sword too, because you can't copyright true events. Like, you can only copyright creative works. So even in the fact of trying to obtain copyright on that, you're basically saying that she created these images.
Okay. They're in Canada. Would it make a difference?
Maybe. Yeah. And copyright nowadays is totally different. Fair use and stuff like that has opened things very, very wide on that.
Yeah.
And honestly, if there was some benefit in terms of acknowledging that what she was saying was true, or even being able to, sell a book idea or a movie idea or something like that, it would actually be in the family's best interest to at least get the best of those pieces of evidence put out there.
You would think so, and I'm hoping that these are not the best.
Yeah. Well, so far, based on what I'm seeing, this one is the best. But even saying that, like, it's not anything that I can, it's not a super identifiable. Yeah. I can't tell. There's nothing in frame with it to tell me what this is. Like, if I saw the top of a tree down here, then I would say, oh, that's obviously the sky, because we've got a point of reference. That's kind of the challenge with all of these, to be honest. This one is so bizarre to me, this notch that's in it. And again, like, this could be it. If I took a strip of film and I held a flashlight behind it, I could make something that looks like this on the wall. And then
I'm going to have to call your bluff one of these days and have you do this stuff.
Honestly, I wouldn't even need to nowadays because of the stuff I can do digitally. But from back at the time, like, if I had a piece of film strip and literally just a flashlight behind it, because this could be the spot between the two pictures on the film strip. And especially with that square notch, because once again, I'm thinking it's film. Like, she's using a film camera. That's what she's capturing all this stuff on.
What if it's a dimly lit room and it's a close-up picture of a screw?
Maybe. And that's just the other thing you have to keep in mind with all this. All of these photos they're not coming from the original item that it was shot in. That's how you would do it back in the day. You would literally set up a projector, throw it against the wall, and someone else would either film that or you would be taking pictures of the projection. So you've already got, like, just the image loss and the ability for artifacts or other things to happen to that image has gone through the original camera and whatever happened in there, it being loaded into a projector and whatever happens around that. And you're old enough to remember when we'd be watching, movies in school or something like that, and there'd be a hair caught in the middle of the projector. Like, it'll be there for the whole thing.
I remember that.
Like, there's odd things that can happen in the projection, but then another camera that's capturing that next thing. So just, there's so many generations that you're jumping, even for us to be looking at this image right now. Yeah, it's tough.
Well, see, one of the experts who looked at these pictures said that he believes it's a natural phenomena that she's catching and not extraterrestrials.
Yeah. I mean, he's basically in line with what I'm saying. But even for that, like, if we were trying to say that this was, an animal that we had never seen or something like that before, like, we don't have great information here to put it into perspective. This object could be 30 feet wide across, or it could be the head of a screw.
Yeah, we don't know.
Like some people are talking about in chat. Yeah, there's just no way to know.
Well, and aside from the pictures, she had people come to her house to do investigations on her. One of the gentlemen who came to the house started complaining about hearing a buzzing sound in his right ear.
Yeah.
And she said, I get the same thing. That means they want to see us. And they walked out on her balcony and boom, there's floating lights in the sky. She said before they showed up, she would always get that buzzing in her ear. It would make her want to go outside.
So there you have some accompanying testimony. Is he a believer now after having that experience with her?
Well, I mean, he was a believer to begin with.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Because most of the people who came to investigate this were from MUFON and things of that nature.
Right.
Now,
right.
The only thing that I found really suspicious is that they did a segment about her on Unsolved Mysteries.
Mm-hmm.
She would take the camera crew out into the yard with her camera and pick up lights, things that she saw. The camera crew couldn't pick up any of it. Now, they've made a documentary about this, and it's a really cute documentary. It shows about her life, her children. So if you have a chance to watch Capturing the Light, I think you can get it on YouTube for free.
Okay.
You can get it on Amazon and whatnot and rent it there too. Yeah. That was it. And see, for the documentary, they caught these lights too. So I don't know what was up with the Unsolved Mysteries crew, but they didn't catch anything really.
Well, I like stuff like this, so I'll definitely be checking out the documentary and giving it a view. And honestly, I don't believe that we're alone in the universe. So, like, I've already got 2 tick marks on this. Where I struggle is she really capturing something that is from, another world? That's kind of where I get stuck with this. But seems like you have an expert opinion for this episode today. This is the expert that Christy brought in with the final word on this topic. Well, not quite the final word. We got to put it to the audience. Yeah, here, let me just get the poll to the audience. Were these aliens? Is that fair for the question?
Yes.
Were these aliens? Yes or no? All right, we've started the poll with the audience. Now, let's bring your expert in. Did we treat him okay in the green room? He got everything he needed? I don't know why they wanted... Okay, because I saw the writer...
There were some weird requests, but...
Yeah,
I guess that's to be expected.
We had to pull all the red M&Ms out. He would only eat those, which I heard we did. And then he wanted like 15 cans of Aquanet. Let's bring him out here.
Yeah.
Okay. Got it. That's the final word.
Totally.
I'm not saying it's aliens, but it's aliens.
Yes.
Oh, now I understand why he wanted so much face blush as well. Yeah. Aquanet and face blush.
All that bronzer. Yeah.
He does look like he rocks a lot of bronzer. I was like,
Giorgio.
I was so stoked to see him in Resident Alien when he showed up in that episode.
It ticks me off every time I see Tsoukalos in anything. It just does. It drives me insane. And when he popped up on Resident Alien, I went, oh!
What I also loved about that episode, basically, if you haven't seen it, it was an episode where they were at an alien con. And the stuff that they were presenting in that episode is all real stuff that's discussed in that community.
Yeah.
It was like...
all the theories and stuff, all the different types of aliens and everything. It all comes up on this show. It's really cool.
It was legit. It was very well researched. Zombie Sauce says, my answer to everything is 42. Absolutely.
That's very wise.
It's very wise. Let's see what the audience says here, Christy. We are stopping the poll, and with a whopping... Oh, I think someone just tried to put her own vote in and someone else knocked it back out. Oh, no, it went back in. We have 30% of the audience saying, yes, these are aliens, which honestly, I think is a pretty good That's a
number. A good portion of the audience.
It is. However, it also means that 70% said...
Next time you get that buzzing in your ear, guys, go out, look around.
Please. Yeah, if you get the buzzing in your ear.
They know what you voted on this episode.
Oh, goodness. It's funny because I actually have buzzing in my ear right now, Christy. It's amazing.
Run outside and go look. Misty Kate's going too.
Absolutely. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with us for this episode. Watch out for that buzzing in your ear. And if you do get it, head to the other side. We'll catch you next time. See you, everybody.
Bye.